hear you.
Half of that.
How are you?
I'm sure you look beautiful.
Oh, no.
You do to us.
And Dr. Wilson, go home and put some purple and green on so you can have your Mardi Gras colors.
I saw that on TV. Fine and green pea.
It'll be Mardi Gras until 5 o'clock when it turns into Shrove Tuesday.
All right, we all ready?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, let me let you get squared away here.
One of your Broncos told me I should wear blue and white.
Oh, yeah, we're celebrating. We're celebrating. Saturday's victory.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, blue.
With the special call meeting of the Edgecombe County Board of Education, March 1st, 2022, please come to order. Because of the mandate of mask wearing, persons may visit this meeting in person via numbers providing, but you may also visit the meeting via YouTube on the Edgecombe County Public Schools site. Please join me, if you will, as we stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. May I please note that Board Member Scott and Worsley will be joining us virtually, as well as Attorney Stagner. Item number 2, there's an agenda that sits before you. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions to that agenda? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, Evelyn Wilson, I offer a motion that we approve the agenda as printed.
Second.
It has been motioned and seconded for the approval of the agenda as presented. You've heard that motion and second. And any other further discussion or unreadiness? Hearing none, those in favor, let it be known by stating your name, saying aye.
Evelyn Wilson, aye.
Evelyn Johnson, aye.
William Ellis, aye.
Ann Kim, aye.
Marvin Scott, aye.
Lily Worsley, aye.
And that motion carried. Item number 3, Dr. Lee.
Absolutely. Okay, so you have packets at your table, and I just want to read to you the items that are listed below, and then we'll talk through some of the data. So ECPS mask mandate, you have 2 options. You have one option. Option 1, motion to continue the mask mandate that all students grade pre-K through 13, staff and students, visitors be required to wear masks in all group transportation, including buses, vans, driver's education cars, etc., on school grounds and inside of all ECPS facilities, regardless of vaccination status, with the exception of basketball players on the floor having the option to not wear a mask while engaging in play during game. Then you have option 2. Motion to amend the mask mandate to allow mask wearing optional for students, staff, and visitors on school grounds and inside all of ECPS facilities effective March 2nd, 2022. ECPS will still require masks for students and staff while on school buses, school activity buses, vans, driver's education cars, and all other public school-related transportation while we continue to review the data. So those are the 2 options. Last time we met for our February meeting, as promised, we said we would come back together in 2 weeks to discuss mask mandates and these 2 options. I've provided you with data. We talked about some additional data. You have a 1-pager, and this is the ECPS COVID dashboard. You should see that on top. You should see that at the top, and at the bottom you should see Edgecombe County COVID data. As you look at this data, it's from January 7th, 2022 through February 25th, 2022. And as you see, you can certainly look at the new cases for students and new cases for staff. Those numbers are decreasing. They have been decreasing since January 14th, and they're continuing to decrease. As of February 25th, Susan and Matthew collect this data. They put it on the dashboard. It shows that February 25th, we had 2 new student cases. We had 2 new staff cases. In comparison, we've had 65, 77, 54. So you see a sharp decline. When you look at the bottom and you see Edgecombe County COVID data, the county gives it by percent, and you see that as well from January 7th through February 25th, you see a sharp decline. We have ended last Friday 6.9% positive, and number of cases reported for our community 5. So again, you see a sharp decline. 31%, 35, 35, 30, 26, 19, 12, and then down to 6.9. So those are pieces of data that we wanted to share with you and make sure that you had that in your hand. The next information you have is a survey for our staff. And the first 3 questions are the Likert scale, where it goes from extremely comfortable, number 1, to 5, extremely uncomfortable. And there are 3 questions that we ask staff to respond to. The first one, thinking about our current mask mandate and your role, please rate how comfortable you are with the current mask mandate. And it goes from 1 to 5. You see the numbers there, and what I did was I looked at those that rated 1 and 2. I kind of coupled those, and those that rated 4 and 5. 1 and 2 means extremely comfortable or comfortable, and 4 and 5 means extremely uncomfortable. So we had 169 who said they were extremely comfortable with the current mask mandate. We had 120 who said they were extremely uncomfortable with the current mandate. So again, you see the numbers. We had 336 responses in all. That's not quite half our staff, but we did give them an opportunity to respond. The second question, since our Board of Education sets district policy, they can vote to make mask wearing optional. With that in mind, how comfortable are you in your role with an optional mask mandate? And again, Likert scale, extremely comfortable, 1, extremely uncomfortable, 5. We had 154 that were either a 1 or a 2 that said they were extremely comfortable with a vote for mask wearing optional, and we had 149 who scored 4 and 5 that said that they would be extremely uncomfortable. So very close numbers there. If you turn over to the back, the third question, thinking about your current role, what is the likelihood that you would wear a mask in school if it were optional? Again, on a scale of 1 to 5, extremely likely, extremely unlikely. Likely to still wear their mask, level scored a 1 and a 2, 157. Unlikely to still wear a mask, 4s and 5s, 139. So those were the 3 questions that we asked the staff where they had to do a rating. And then the final question was an open-ended question. Please share any information in 150 characters or less that may be helpful as the board discusses this important decision. And what I want to do is just give you time to read some of the responses. I think you'll find very similar to the responses from the Likert scale that people felt, several felt like they didn't want the mask anymore, several felt like they did want the mask just for safety reasons, but it wasn't anything overwhelming or compelling. I highlighted on my questions, my responses, some questions that staff members had, and my intention is to do some Google Meets this afternoon with principals and try to answer some of these questions based on the option that the board decides for today. And some of those questions were around folks coming into the building, around prom, around field trips and other things such as that. I just think we're at the point where you have the data. We see the decreases for our school system, our students and our teachers. We see the decreases in our community by percent and by number, and then you have information from staff that share with you their feelings and their concerns. I'll let you take a minute, read some of the responses, and you certainly can take that with you, and then see if you all have questions for me. Absolutely.
Let me see, a thumbs up for those who have finished. Okay, now we're open for comments, questions. Ken?
Well, until I read this, it was pretty, I came in with an idea, I thought I was ready to support it, and I probably will still stick with it. And I've had emails sent on both sides. A lot of teachers concerned with the health issues. I think, if we choose to relax it, I think we need to spend a lot of time talking to our principals about bullying that's going to occur in schools when some students need to wear their mask, and teachers. I think it's pretty obvious in this community that there's some people that don't understand the severity of COVID. And I want to make sure that these children are not bullied at school or the teachers by other teachers, because they may have to wear them because of health issues at home. And I could not support something that our system could not get behind and say, we're not going to tolerate children being teased because they have to wear masks because of issues. And I think we need to have a plan in place that if our numbers change, that we can move right back into wearing a mask, even if it's, one comment was they had a plan that if a school had a number, that school would have to go back into a mandatory mask. Maybe that's gonna be difficult to monitor, but sometimes you don't need to punish everyone if you have a problem in one little area. And I do like keeping the mask on in transportation. There were many comments from bus drivers and people on buses, but there are many people in our system right now who have health issues or health issues of people at home, and we just need to be respectful. I like being optional because those people can wear masks, but I just want to make sure that people are kind and try to be understanding. We might not agree and believe the same thing, but people have to be respectful of other people's views, especially when their health is taken into consideration.
Thank you,
Okay.
Ms. Kent, for your comments.
Other comments?
I just want to comment on, is it okay?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I just want to mention that Susan and I talked today about what we want to put on the website related to when you mentioned the bullying or taunting, to make sure people are okay and feel comfortable. If we decide to go to optional, you still can keep your mask if that's what you want to do, and it's not, it's for your comfort or for your protection based on your health needs. So we did talk about that. If you look at the bottom of your sheet, it talks about us coming back together. And if we see a particular school that has an uptick of say 8 or 10%, then that particular school may have to go back to mask, but maybe not the whole district. So that I put that at the bottom in the event we go with option 2. But thank you for your comments.
Dr. Wilson, did you?
Yes, first of all, I want to thank the staff for taking the time to provide us with this type of information and involving the schools, the principals, and providing a pack like this to give us some ideas of what's out there and what's going on. And if we, as a matter of fact, I kept seeing in all of these responses, this particular comment, I fully support with going optional. I can understand that because I just saw it a lot in these documents. Because, first of all, the students with those that ride the school bus, federal law says if you get on the school bus, you need to have a mask. So on the student that's riding buses, you need to have a mask available. And the optional piece, to me, that deals with common sense. If a teacher has students out on the parking lot and, or on the playground, whatever, if you're outside and at a game, things like that, I think a person should be able to either wear or not wear if you feel comfortable doing that. And the optional idea says to me, it gives a person an opportunity to choose, you know, what they're going to do. And I'm thinking that's what we ought to provide.
Okay.
So I just
Dr.
want
Johnson.
to, again, make a comment.
Go ahead, go right ahead.
So the, federal law did say for bus and transportation, it has recently changed. And so in the option 2, we asked that stay the same. I talked with our, transportation coordinator today, and she was concerned, the closeness, the driver, so it's not federal law, but we have added it to option 2 in the event we decide to go optional, to keep it for now. And then if we come back March 14th, we look at the numbers again, and we can have some more conversation around that. But, thank you for your comments, Dr. Wilson.
Okay. Dr. Johnson.
I just want to say, I know before we left the reason we made this decision the last time, we as a board are responsible. We're here, we're human just like everybody else. And I hope everybody hear us when we say this is a tough decision. And right after we voted to keep the mask on, the next day the governor voted that we could take them off. We understand what life is, and I really do, because I've experienced life and death. What we need to understand is basically, we've got the data that says it is a problem. We've got a world that we have got to work together to resolve this problem. And my prayer is, whichever way we go, that just like people are telling us to vote for the option, I hope that you keep the same thing in mind when you talk about educating those minds. Because a child needs to be educated. And I just pray that parents will spend a lot of time teaching their children, if we go optional, teaching their children what optional really means. We are all vulnerable because this is not something that we created. This virus is airborne, so it does not ask anybody, can I come in? So I'll just say that I hope that our parents will give us, whichever way we go, will give us 100%, because we're human just like everybody else. We want what's best for the kids. We see what the data says, and there's so much politics in it that it hurts, because the next generation is going to have to go forth from where we are right now. So I just ask everybody to be considerate and compassionate. This is not a good seat to be sitting in, especially. We hear all of the comments you made, and we appreciate it. It does not bother me that people don't like what we do or whether they like what we do. That's the world we live in. I just pray that we will all work together and pray and really realize that no person has the answer. But together, how we come out of this is going to depend on how well we work together, not apart. So I'll just say that, you know, we've got to teach our children, and teaching is very important. This is probably one of the most valuable lessons that we'll teach our children if they go optional. But I'm just hoping that everybody will have the same kind of energies to keep everybody safe as they have now, saying yay or nay. Just remember that no man is an island. We are in this world together. And we've got to learn to live together. So let's learn to make decisions and just be nice to people who maybe not think like you, but just know that we are all wanting what's best for the students, teachers, and everybody in this district.
Did you have a comment?
I just, well, I had a question too. I know we did the staff. Did we do the parents as far as, I thought, okay.
We did not.
I thought I saw one, but I
No,
didn't.
they're welcome to come for open comment.
Right.
I just felt like as a school system, no other district that I saw asked the staff. And we felt like we should ask our staff how they felt.
Right.
Didn't want to make any assumptions. I could assume you want to keep it, or I could assume you didn't. You all saw the comments,
Sure.
and so it
Right.
wasn't.
And I think
us.
those
Yeah.
who, you know, the staff or students that have immune problems or whatever, I think we need to go as far as we have to go to do everything that we can to make sure that they're safe. But I think the numbers show that And this, talking about the virus, it's gonna be around. It's here. It's here to stay. I used to, when it first came out, I had in my mind, well, it'll be a year and it'll be gone and get back to normal. I don't know that we ever will, because I think it's here. But the numbers do say, and I think we got to give people the option, the choice to live their lives. But at the same time, again, I was a principal for X number of years, and I'm concerned about the staff, and we need to do everything that we can to make sure that they're safe. And whatever these, I know we're, the new mask or whatever that we're giving them, yeah, we're giving them to the staff and all. So need to do everything to make them feel comfortable also. But I think, yeah, I think it's time to give them the option.
Board members Worsley and Scott, comments or questions?
Board member Worsley, I want to say that, I agree with what has been said thus far, but I want to make my own comment on this. We all have a choice that we can make in everyday life, and whether that choice is for good or evil, it depends on the individual. And in saying that, I want to pray that when we make this choice, that the children that have chosen to wear the mask or not wear their mask still be respectful and also be kind to the ones that have decided to keep their masks on. Because like I said, in life, we all have choices to make, whether good or evil. And I hope that the children remember that. I hope the parents that are reaching out to us realize we're trying to make the best decision that we can. Right now, probably the able the phone
You're breaking up.
Okay, I'm okay. And not be disrespectful for those who are in authority. And remember, you got people.
Okay. Board member Scott?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I first want to thank Dr. Bridges and her staff for pulling this information together for us so that we can make an informed decision. I'm not going to repeat what's been said already, but I think it was beautifully stated by Mrs. Kent and Dr. Johnson. And the 2 points that I make on that is support of one another and protection of one another. So I believe that the decision that we make, as always as a board, that we're looking at the mass and not individuals, and not just one person or one particular group. So I hope that parents and others who have emailed us their concerns about the mask mandate, that you will actively do the same when it comes to other support that we need in the district, in supporting the children of Edgecombe County, and all the activities to make sure our children have the best that they can have, so they can graduate on time and that they can be successful in the future. But again, Mr. Chair, I do want to thank Dr. Bridges for doing an outstanding job, as always, in keeping us informed and pulling together information, as well as the staff that has supported her. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to, on behalf of the board, say to Dr. Bridges and your staff, thank you for pulling all of this information together. And to our parent, I simply want to say, we as board members do not take any decision, this nor any other decision lightly, but we use the data that we have and we use common sense and we come together as a board. We thank you for that. Please express that to your staff.
Absolutely, certainly will.
Hearing no other comments or questions, I need a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we accept option 2 of the motion to amend the mask mandate to allow mask wearing optional for students, staff, and visitors on school grounds and inside all ECPS facilities effective March the 2nd, 2022. ECPS will still require masks for students and staff while on school buses, school activity buses, vans, driver's education cars, and all other public school-related transportation while we continue to review the data.
Morgan Scott, second.
Okay, I think we got Dr. Wilson first with the second. You've heard that motion and second. Any further discussion or unreadiness? Hearing none, those in favor of option 2, please let it be known by stating your name and saying aye.
Evelyn Wilson, aye.
Evelyn Johnson, aye.
William Ellis, aye.
Ann Kent, aye.
Marvin Scott, aye.
Dylan Worthley, aye.
And that motion of option 2 has passed.
I would like to say to the board, since March of 2020, we've had a heavy, heavy lift. You all have been with us the whole time. I hope that you had an opportunity to read the comments from teachers. We wanted you to hear what they felt, and not just teachers, staff members, hear and feel what they felt and know what they're going through and what it feels like for them. Some, again, were ready to take the mask off, some wanted to keep the mask. We promised to work on making sure no one feels uncomfortable, whatever decision they make. And for me, for our board, thank you so much for supporting them
And you're
and
welcome.
supporting our staff.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
In a special call meeting, that was our business, and now I need a now motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Has been motion and second for motion made for adjournment. You've heard that motion and second.